Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hotkeys podcast. This is a show where we talk about everything pop culture and random in the world. I'm your host, Mick, and I'm joined by
Wil Dobratz,
Landon Browning,
and David Parker.
Welcome to the show, guys. It's September 12th, 2020.
Whoop whoop.
Yesterday was September 11th. Always remember.
Yeah, never forget.
Yeah. Do you guys actually remember
Yes.
that day?
I don't believe so. Maybe like vague like memories of a memory, but I was really young. I was like 4.
I can't remember it all.
Dave, what do you remember about it?
Well, I was about to turn 9, so I was a little bit older than I guess Will and Landon were. But we were homeschooled at the time, living in Hawaii, and since we were in Hawaii, when we got up, by the time we woke up, things had already progressed very poorly. I think both towers had fallen at that point.
Yeah, because what is Hawaii 6 hours behind?
I think it's 5 from Eastern time because there's 2 hours from the Pacific and then 3 hours from the. Am I wrong? Could be 6.
It was a lot of time. That's all. It's anywhere from 5 to 7 hours or something like that behind the Eastern time zone. But when we woke up, it was all on the news, and no one was going to work. All the schools closed for public school kids. So we were essentially outside with kids, kind of just scootering around in the street, but kind of just not really doing much. We kind of just were in the street talking kind of about what was going on and stuff. But I remember it was a really surreal moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of no other feeling that I've come close to in anything else. What the whole experience was like for the day, and then for the next couple months that followed, because everything was so weird and different all at once. I mean, I was still a kid, though, so there wasn't a lot I was doing, but it was still had a big impact on even a child and kind of the ramifications that came with it. I mean, it seemed so weird that something so that was such a pillar of American society was now gone, and it kind of left you feeling really confused, even when we were so far removed from it, but where we were in the States at the time. But it was just a really weird experience, but yeah, it's hard to forget.
Yeah.
That, I mean, Landon joked never forget, but
You thought I was joking?
it is hard to forget what that experience was like that day, and for the next few weeks and months. It was very, very different.
Yeah, it was I kind of remember a little.
Start us out on a high note.
Sorry, I'm just a little bit younger than you, Dave. But yeah, I have those vague memories too of just like everyone just kind of being really sad about it.
Everything stopped. There was nothing going. I mean, you kind of think of how things stopped with coronavirus, but not everything stopped, and it didn't stop all at once.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was immediate and long lasting, I guess.
Do you mind if I ask about like the next couple days after? Like, did life slowly start to resume, or was it just like a go right back to where it was before?
It was kind of a slow. Everything kind of slowly came back, but kids were out of school for quite a while. At least the kids that were that we knew on base. I think it was the same for kids that were off base too.
Yeah, we were on a military base.
Yeah, we lived in a military base.
Probably has a lot more impact than some other places too, but I could be wrong.
I guess so. I mean, a lot, because our it was an Air Force base, and they were dealing with national security things and stuff like that. Everything kind of locked down very quickly as well. I mean, with there was no plane transport for a while, just due to security things. But it was really weird. It's hard to describe, but yes, I remember the day very well, and I remember coming down the steps and seeing the news, and my mom sitting there watching the television.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Kind of being confused at first, wondering what was going on, because I was getting up thinking I have school, and instead I was watching television, at 7 a.m.
Because that was on a Tuesday, right? I think it was a Tuesday.
Probably. I don't remember that, but if you looked it up, then I'll fall back on whatever you say.
Yes, blindly follow my word.
But yeah, it was not an immediate start to things. It was kind of very gradual. Life kind of slowly got back to normal, but it changed so many things that, I mean, some of you maybe aren't aware of that changed for completely. That we've kind of never really gone back, especially with certain type of
Yeah.
security stuff.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen that kind of digital recreation of the flights that day, like all the flights across the world. How they show like it's just like it looks like a beehive just all over the earth, like a bunch of planes in the air, and as soon as 9/11 happens, they just start going away, and it's like almost nothing for like a couple days.
Yeah.
Just flights stopped.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so yesterday was the 19th anniversary.
Yeah, next year it'll be 20 years.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
It makes me feel old.
It does, yeah. Because part of it kind of feels like it was a really long time ago, but also some of the
Like 5 years ago or something.
No, like a long time ago. But some of it also kind of feels still like it was just, a year or two ago.
Yeah, that's why I said 5. I was jumping to the part where you were going to say, but it also feels like it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, Dave. Did you guys see David Blaine's new stunt he pulled?
No, I
over the
saw like
past
some
week?
like thing like with him and a bunch of balloons. I'm like, nah, it's not for me. It's not for me, man.
It's like up this like
the live action.
the live action version. Yeah.
In real life.
Did he just float with balloons? Is that all he did?
So that's what I thought. I mean, that's basically what it is, but I guess it's a little more difficult what he did because for those of you who don't know, Dave Blaine's this guy who is like a crazy,
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, he does a bunch of weird. Like one thing he did was he held his breath for I don't know, like 6 hours or something. It was like a really long. I don't remember exactly. It was like a really long time.
No, he's not a superhuman.
How much,
Like-
Dave? Dave shaking his
No,
head.
he did this thing where he lived in a tank of water for a week. It was 7 days.
Oh,
straight.
that was it. Yeah.
But he had a breathing tube or whatever, and then at the end of the 7 days,
He held his
he was
breath
gonna
for as
try
long
to
as he
do
could.
was try to hold his breath and beat the world record.
Do you remember how long he held his breath?
No,
It was 6 hours.
It was something. It was something like 5.
It was a
to
long
8
time, though,
minutes
for-
or something. It was
It
a
was a
very
long-
long
how many
time.
minutes?
Like 8.
It was something like 5 to 8 minutes, I believe.
Like 6
Um,
hours.
But I was chewing food when Michael said that, so I was quickly trying to swallow and unmute my mic so I could say that no, he did not hold his breath for 6 hours. 'Cause that's ridiculous.
Dave just jumps on
6 hours on a human.
false information.
I do.
Anyway, so he's done stuff like that. I don't remember what else he's done, but he does like filmable stuff where a bunch of people watch him do insane things.
This is going to sound terrible, but I'm surprised that he's still alive at this point because a lot of his stunts have been dangerous.
I remember he was doing this bullet catch thing, which he was actually doing a bullet catch where you have like this specially designed cup in your mouth and you literally catch the bullet. I think he did hurt himself, but he still caught the bullet.
Oh my gosh.
But so anyway, he does this kind of crazy stuff. So I guess what he did was he hooked himself up to a bunch of balloons and it was just him. And the whole thing was he was going to, I think, use oxygen like at the last minute possible. So he got to like, I think it was like 10,000 feet before he started using oxygen.
Oh my god.
And he got up, I think, over 24,000 feet before he completely cut the cord and parachuted down.
That's insane.
But it was like a good like 20 minutes or so of him just rising.
Yeah, it's interesting because what he said, I watched a little bit of it, and
Mhm.
I didn't get to the part where he went full balloon, full up. But one of the things he said is that I do all these dangerous stunts, and my daughter watches them, and she's scared sometimes by the end. And he wanted to do something that would inspire her rather than would frighten her.
Right.
And I think that's pretty cool, but it's also kind of ironic because what he did was also extremely dangerous.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just not easy
Yeah.
to tell
Oh,
for
the
a
other
kid
thing-
that is extremely dangerous.
The other thing that happened was he didn't start off the ascension. The video is called Ascension, like the stunt thing is called Ascension. He didn't start the whole thing off with the parachute already on his body. It was like up above, like on a winch, like up in the balloon. So once he reached like, I think it was like 7,000 feet or whatever, he pulled the parachute down, put the parachute on while he was that high off the ground.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Just like little stuff like that just made the whole thing like way more dangerous.
Yeah.
That's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It's entirely necessary for setting world records.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some. I did a little bit of research real quick on this. The thing I was referencing was from 2006, where the current world record for holding your breath was 8 minutes and 58 seconds. So he did the thing for 7 days. He lived in the tube. He pooped into the water or whatever he did, and then
It was really good. It was like a giant fishbowl, basically.
Oh.
And by the time he came out, like his skin was like you could just peel it off, like because it was just so like waterlogged. It was so gross.
So the world record at that time was 8 minutes and 58 seconds. He tried to hold his breath after that, could only do it for 7-something minutes and failed.
6
Later,
hours.
though, David Blaine, it was in 2010, I believe. He did it again, but just the world record part for holding his breath, and he did 17-something minutes, and he
6 hours.
he currently has the world record for holding his
Wow,
breath for
6
over
hours.
Well, I
17
remember,
minutes.
I remember him saying after he lived in the fishbowl for a week, he said he could definitely hold his breath for the world record time if he hadn't done that before, lived in the water before, because it would really just like mess with his head and weakened him and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess he's right.
in the
17
water.
minutes and 4 seconds.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's
I could
crazy.
probably hold my breath for like 30 seconds. Feel like. I don't know. I'd have to try it.
There's
but I
some
don't-
pretty easy breathing exercises you could do where you could hold it a lot longer than that, and you'd surprise yourself.
I don't know.
I believe in you.
I don't really.
You
see
could go
the
6
point.
hours,
I don't really.
break the record.
I don't really see the point. In, like that's not really a life
If
skill. I
we
don't feel like.
choke
Well,
you-
what happens
What if-
when
Like, what if you
need to hold
accidentally
your breath?
join the
Yeah.
Navy SEALs or something?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
oops, I'm in the Navy SEALs.
I don't know.
Gotta hold my breath for 6 hours.
I guess I'll just die.
That's a great solution, Landon.
But anyway, so yeah, it was kind of a. I mean, for me personally, like when I see David's Blaine news, I kind of roll my eyes, like, okay, what's he doing next? But it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, see, I remember watching as a kid when he had his show, like David Rain.
Yeah.
Is it Street?
Like the street musician or something.
Street
Or magician. Sorry.
Street Magician, yeah.
Yeah.
And those were always enjoyable because they were magic tricks that I like.
Right.
that
And he's a
were-
good magician.
Oh yeah,
like he's really
fantastic.
good. My uncle, who we've talked about before, Uncle Sean,
The goat.
the goat. He's also a magician, and he's seen some of David
He
Blaine's
taught
stuff,
David
and
Blaine everything he knows.
He does. Yeah, he did. The true master.
Gosh dang it!
What are you eating there, Dave?
food, just eating food.
We're kind of in the middle of a podcast.
Dave cares more about.
As Michael goes to sip his coffee,
Sustenance.
like
It's easier to swallow than food quickly.
It's easier to swallow than food.
Yes, that is what I said.
Okay.
why don't you just say
don't
it's
wear it
easier
out.
to drink than
What's
easier
in,
to?
what's in your coffee over there, Mick?
Creamer, I think.
You want some coffee with your bourbon?
It's way too early for that, Dave. So Will, on the table here
Yes.
are 3 movies: John Wick, John Wick 2, and John Wick 3.
Correct.
I assume you brought it to me because you just gave up and couldn't watch them ever. So.
No, I
Thanks for
actually
bringing
watched
them
all
back
3 over
finally.
the past week.
We don't believe you.
You don't believe me? All right, ask me what happens.
What happens, Will?
Spoiler alert
Spoiler
for all the John
Spoiler
Wick
alert for
movies.
John Wick. I'm just gonna do John Wick 3 because if you know me, you'd never know. I would never watch a third one without watching the first 2. So at the end of John Wick 3, Winston.
Dave, have you seen John Wick 3?
What? No, I haven't seen John Wick 3.
Oh, never mind.
Convenient.
You can talk about John Wick 3. You're fine. I've seen the first 2.
Oh, talk about the first 2.
Okay. So the first one, somebody goes and kills his car and kills his dog.
They don't kill his car.
Mm.
Women watch it. Liar.
Already off
sorry,
to the wrong foot.
steals his car, kills his dog, and he gets revenge. That's
Beyond
basically
Greyjoy.
the only plot I can give you because that's pretty much the only part of the plot that's important. That's why I think I like the third.
Was
one
there
the
like
best.
any like action in the movie?
There was a
Or
lot of
like-
action
Was it like a
sequences.
romantic comedy? Like what type of movie?
A very romantic comedy. Keanu Reeves paired really well with Willem Dafoe. No.
Robert Pattinson would be jealous. That's a Lighthouse joke.
Oh, ew. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't watch that movie.
Anyway,
Kinda
John
thankful.
Wick.
Yes, John Wick was it was good. My favorite part was the world that it built.
Yes.
So it has a really cool kind of world that it kind of builds, and it has its own rules. It has its own boundaries that it sets out for what an assassin can do. Usually it's a free, like Jason Bourne, it's a free for all. Like James Bond, there's organizations, but there's not really a lot of
It's
thinking
basically
about
just James Bond.
It's just James
there's
Bond.
There's no other agent.
But with John Wick, there's a whole world of them, it feels like. There's a whole world of, especially in the second one and especially the third one.
Yes.
There's a whole world of this that it builds, and it's incredible to see that world play out, because you never know what's going to happen next in the world. It felt like for me.
Well, I know they've wanted to make a TV show about the John Wick universe.
That would be great.
I thought they were going, about the hotel, right, or something.
Yeah,
on
the
on
Continental.
Hallmark Channel.
Because it's a romantic comedy. Yeah, I don't know if they're still doing that or not, but I think the universe there's definitely enough there to make a compelling show.
And what I find interesting about the John Wick trilogy is that, well, I guess it's a quadrilogy.
Well, there's going to be 5.
There's going to be 5?
They're
Really?
filming them back to back now.
Wow.
A quintilogy.
Quintilogy. The action scenes are my least favorite parts of the movie.
Well, hey, Will, it's been great having you on.
Yeah, you didn't watch the movies.
No, I did. And, okay, I shouldn't say some of the John Wick's the best one-dimensional character I've ever seen. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes
It
sense.
feels like he's only got one personality to him, but it's a really good character still. So
You didn't like the action, though? You didn't like the bang bang?
well, a lot of the times the fights went on for too long, especially in the third one. I was like, this is cool, but like it's just like going on and on and on and on. Just call me a pacifist.
I think the second one's still my favorite. I think I love the tunnel fight scene in the second one where he's got the shotgun. He like pushes it up against the guy and like reloading it. And
They're great. They're great movies.
Is that
They're
the fat
definitely
guy?
the old I like that part too. Like
the sumo.
that he has to shoot like 24 times to kill. That whole montage when they're all trying to kill him and he's just taking them all out.
Yeah. I think it's the best action in any action movie I've seen. It's just
it's the best choreographed for sure.
well, it's just I think it balances out really well the like kind of the absurd and fantastical with the very realistic, because it's still
very realistic.
it's still interesting to watch, because like realistic fights I think can be kind of boring, but I think they do a really good job at balancing the two.
Yeah. See, it was definitely realistic, because there was a few times where I went like, oh, like when a guy got his head blown off or something like that with like the armor piercing shotgun shells.
Upgrade.
And a lot of the movie is really fun, but I think that comes from the world and the characters interacting. And that's why I really like the movie. What I don't like about the movie is kind of
The fights.
The fights are really drawn out for me.
What the heck?
And that probably is really a different opinion, especially for John Wick.
I think that's the wrong opinion.
You are objectively
wrong.
Let me get this straight. I watched the movies that you asked me to watch, and then when I give my opinion, you're like,
7
"No,
months ago."
You're objectively wrong. No, it wasn't 7 months ago.
It was close.
9 minus 3 is
6 hours ago, I asked you to watch these movies.
I like in the third one when they fight in the
Spoilers.
the museum in the beginning. It's in that part, like with all the knives and the
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Cool.
Dave, you have to watch John Wick 3.
It's on HBO Max.
The crusade of watching John Wick continues to Dave.
It will never end. There will always
It
be
will.
someone that needs to watch the John Wick trilogy.
I would
Soon to be quintilogy.
This is gonna make you mad. I'd say that I like the Mission Impossible.
I'm mad at
series
you.
better than John Wick series.
Oof.
Yeah,
Oof.
especially 4, 5, and 6.
I mean, look, those are good action movies, but I mean, John Wick, man, you know.
I don't know what you mean by John
I think
Wick man.
I think they're
Sound like a
almost,
South Park character, like John Wick man.
I think it's kind of hard to, like, even though they are both action series, they're kind of hard to compare actually, because
They are difficult.
They're different.
They go for different things.
I feel like John Wick is extremely focused on like the choreograph of the fighting and like the really cool scenes, and then like Mission Impossible is more set piece.
Mission
stuff.
Impossible, I think, falls more under the line of like a James Bond movie. when the action isn't really like the forefront.
I think what I like about Mission Impossible is the plot is a lot more twisty and curvy, and I think Mission Impossible has better characters than John Wick in a different way. So
I think it fleshes out the characters more in the Mission Impossible universe.
Yes. And I'm not saying it's basically what I'm trying to say is I like apples better than oranges.
Oh. You mean apples? Wow. Or crab apples or whatever you said.
So they're two different types of action movies, but I like what the Mission Impossible.
Dude, you got to stop, man. You're trying to save yourself.
What are you talking about?
You know, oranges to bananas.
What have I done wrong?
Durian to starfruit.
I still haven't got an answer of what I've done wrong.
Everything.
You clearly didn't watch these movies.
What?
Take them back, Will. Watch them again.
I'll
expect them back in another 7 months.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Can we all agree, though, that like the girl in the third one with the super short hair, the high table girl, was really annoying, and I didn't like her at all. Can we agree that she's annoying? At least.
Oh, I mean, I think she's supposed to be kind of.
I know,
irritating.
But can we find some common ground, please?
No, she was the best character. You're wrong. You're objectively wrong.
No, yeah, she was terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently, Carrie-Anne Moss was supposed to play that character, but she passed on it.
I don't know who that is.
Trinity from The Matrix.
Cool. Yeah.
Who played her in? Like, who actually played her? I can't remember the actress's name that played her. Actually,
remember her.
I don't know.
She played it well, though. I mean, you
loathed her.
Yeah.
High table, blah blah blah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite trilogies, just because it's done so well and it's consistent throughout.
Yeah, consistency for the only thing that I found inconsistent is John Wick wrapped up really well. And then they kind of they did it well.
Though.
Yeah, there's
his car.
That is true. So his car was definitely a loose end, but
the second movie literally starts with him
getting his car back, right?
Which is a great scene. Because then you got the Russian mob boss up in his office, hearing all the death and destruction outside.
But the transition from 2 to 3 was definitely better than from 1 to 2. I would argue.
Well, I love the ending of 2.
The ending of 2 is amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now?
The guy sitting there, he's like, you wouldn't kill me. I mean, he's like, it's like, oh dang.
That's like when you're a kid and you go to the safe zone or whatever. You touch the safe zone, you're like, I'm fine.
And then somebody pulls you out of the safe zone and tackles you. Yeah, that's basically the equivalent of
that.
Great stuff. Well, Will, thank you for finally watching the movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry it took a while to get to it. It
took a while.
It took a minute. He took a minute to watch them.
But since you watched La La Land, I thought, you know what? I'm going to finally motivate myself. And also, it was funny because I watched John Wick right after. Last week, we were in a PlayStation party, all talking, and you were like, well, you have time. What are you going to do, Will? What are you going to do? And then I just left, and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually just going to watch John Wick. And I watched it.
Was that so hard?
No. I just felt like it.
After Will got done, he's like, man, I really wish I would have watched this sooner.
No, I didn't think that. I really didn't think that. Thank you for sharing the movies that you love with me, though.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing La La Land.
Yeah.
I listened to the soundtrack a lot.
Yeah.
It's a good soundtrack.
Isn't it fantastic?
It's really good.
It's great.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, did you guys hear about... we all know who Carol Baskin is, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage. Is this where you're going with this?
He's talking about the other thing.
Oh, that's Joe Exotic. Okay, that's Joe Exotic movie.
She's from the Netflix series Tiger King.
I hate her.
She probably is a murderer.
Oh, she's definitely a murderer.
Anyway, did you guys hear that she is going to be one of the, and I'm going to do air quotes here, one of the stars on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh my god.
I hear that.
This has to be an elaborate sting to get her to confess to murder, right?
I feel so sorry for the person that gets paired with her.
I bet they get, I bet they get voted off very quickly.
I can't wait for the tiger-themed dances they're going to do.
Oh gosh, you know it's going to happen. Her wardrobe is just going to be tiger print.
I can't imagine how people would watch that. But then again, I can't.
Fast?
Probably not. I mean,
I can just imagine the dirty dancing,
Oh no! Hair back.
Horrible image.
Water just.
Oh no.
But
Carol
Tiger
Baskin
Blood.
is a terrible human being.
She was like the literal thing of like nails on a chalkboard. Besides actually literally putting your nails on a chalkboard.
So
she was a human version of that.
Watching someone like in that documentary that was so self-righteous, like while like clearly committing just like the same like animal cruelty to all the animals, it's like, and then not paying her employees because it's a
volunteer.
Yeah, it's a volunteer thing. Like I don't even remember any of my volunteers' names, so they've been here for like 5 years. It's like what? Like how? I can remember people's like, you know what I mean? Like if I work with someone like a couple times, like I could typically remember their name.
I still don't remember your name, but
I mean, I want to get that checked out.
Is it Lando?
Yeah, our my fellow
Landon?
co-hosts Brandon, Bill.
That's why I never say your name.
Mitchell.
I always let you say it. You're like,
that's what.
maybe I'll remember it this time. Nope.
You're like looking to text me to like say you're gonna be a little late. Like, oh, what was his name and contacts? Like,
you're literally under what's his face on my phone. What's his face replied. Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of phones, I don't know if I talked about it on the show.
Another
monumental,
once in a lifetime
great
event.
Accomplishments this week, haven't we?
I'm proud of our group. I'll remember
know,
Landon's name this time, and we'll watch John Wick trilogy. And Landon,
I bought a new phone for the first time in a long time. The old iPhone SE she was struggling. She really wouldn't hold a charge for more than about an hour. So
that's so bad.
How old is it? I don't know anything about iPhone models, so how old is that phone?
The SE came out in 13.
Oh, nice, Landon. Yeah.
I didn't have it in 2013, though. I think I got it in 2015 or 2016.
Right.
So it was a couple years old. The model was a couple years old when I got it.
You probably got a refurbished version too, like, you know.
No, probably.
Like, oh, this phone was already used for like 2 years.
I don't think
take
so.
This. You're like, okay.
The most awesome, like it was running the most up to date iOS,
which is really bad.
It's impressive actually that it was.
That's
able
why
to do
your phone only lasted an hour.
Yeah, it was begging. Like sometimes you just hold it and it would just be so hot, like it was just begging.
Oh my gosh,
it was begging for mercy.
Why didn't you get one sooner?
Didn't need to. It worked fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm just gonna bite my tongue on this one and not.
No,
say
don't bite your tongue. This is an audio podcast where we need you to speak.
All right, here's the thing, Landon. How did you determine when you needed a new phone?
Well, when it got to the point where I couldn't be on it for, like more than like an hour without needing to plug it in.
How long has it been since that's happened?
That's been happening.
I mean, it became more clear when I went on vacation and was on it a little bit more without like having a charger nearby, like being on the beach, like wanting to take pictures and stuff and be like, oh, well, my phone's going to die. And, go plug it in for an hour and then like take it off.
Picture would take 5% away from his battery.
Well, it was like
the moment the click happens, like the number goes down.
It would be like that. I could sit there and watch a video, and you would just watch the percentage like draining, like by the second.
It like equaled the progress bar of the video.
Yeah.
You can watch this video, but
it wasn't really a wireless phone anymore. It's like a landline.
That really defeats the purpose of a cell phone.
But I don't know. I got my money's worth out of it, so I felt good about that. I hate spending money on phones. I hate it. So I went out and bought like the cheapest iPhone available.
Why do you hate spending money on phones? The phone is generally
phones are too expensive.
Which is the
phones
new
cost
SE.
too much than what they should for what they offer. That's why.
Yeah, but if people are willing to pay the $1,200,
no, but really, like if people are willing to
free
pay.
market.
I guess the way that I look at it is the phone is probably the thing that I use the most throughout the day. So I would want something a little nicer that could last.
The only reason I got a new phone though was because the battery just wouldn't last anymore.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
I know, but like I mean, the function of it, like function-wise, it was fine. Fine. It played videos.
I would argue that the battery is part of the function of the phone.
He's saying other than the battery.
Other than the battery.
Okay, Dave, calm down.
I'm just saying, like, if the battery.
Dave's here to defend Landon.
Well, that's because Dave is probably my court, right?
I'm here to defend purchasing a phone more than once every 1 year. Because I feel like
I'm not saying buy a phone every 1 year.
I know, but
Landon's phone is 7 years old.
I'm saying that Landon probably should have made the upgrade a while ago. Because your battery sucks.
But yeah, he did. It got to the point where once it was no longer feasible then he got a
It's
new one.
been that way though.
No,
for
it hasn't,
A while.
though, 'cause
You've been
if it had
complaining
been
about this for over
crippling-
7 months.
If it
I
had been
remember because it was when I gave Will the John Wick trilogy.
Yeah.
The point
If
is, though,
if
so
had
I
been
made it
crippling,
work.
He would have replaced it earlier, and it got to that point where it was crippling, so he replaced it.
And I still spent probably more than I would have liked, but I spent way less than most phones, I think. I got the new SE model.
Which is what? Is it the 11 guts in the
I
8?
actually have no idea what's
I'm just
in
going
it.
to say that.
But
It's a good phone.
The physical size is a little bit bigger than the one I had before, which is okay. I like smaller phones, but it's not noticeably bigger, like too much. I was able to get it with a decent case, with a screen protector, and then like the Apple Care, which I feel like is. Do you guys get Apple? You get Apple Care for your phones, or
I think I got it for mine.
so with
I
all
don't
that?
even- is it like it's just a one-time fee though?
Yeah, it's a one-time fee.
Is it like 25?
It's like $70.
Is it that
And
much?
it covers it for 2 years. Like, so if anything happens to it, they repair it for I think free or for very cheap.
Mm.
So
I think I'm out of date then for my
Yeah.
Apple Care.
David's shaking his head.
What, Dave?
So Warren,
Extended
You wanna say something?
the odds
are a
that you,
scam.
yeah, the odds that you
Actually,
go
Apple
back and
is
break your phone. Yeah, thanks, Dave. So I agree with you. The odds that you break your phone or something are so low that I don't think it's worth the $70.
I feel like that's somewhat a valid point, but I've gone in before and gotten like stuff done to it. Like, you know, it gets close. Like you can typically take it in close to the 2 years being up and have them put different things on it. Like just be like, yeah, I need like this new thing added to it, and then they'll like change it out. Like you can get kind of like free maintenance out of it.
Because I don't think there's a person here that hasn't dropped their phone.
Yeah, I've never
Like, it
broken a
happens.
phone, but I'm like, I'm already spending X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
For the phone, I'm getting a cheaper one, so I might as well just pay a little bit extra.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it with most electronics, but for something, I mean, I drop my phone all the time.
Yeah.
I use it at work for like a flashlight, and
Yeah.
I'm on it up in heights and stuff. So
It makes sense.
Dave can laugh at that part. It's whatever.
Laugh at you dropping your phone?
Yeah.
Why would I laugh at you?
me?
Why would I laugh at you
me, Dave?
dropping your
Please.
phone?
Laugh. But I was able
I
to
drop
get
my phone sometimes, but that's what phone cases are for. So
yeah. All expenses added in, it cost me like $611, I think, for my new phone. So, but that's like probably half the price if I got like the newest iPhone. So,
Yes. Probably less than half.
do you want to know how much my phone was?
$155.
It was something like that. I think it was 180
How'd you get it so cheap, if you don't mind me asking?
Because it's a cheap phone.
because it's not an iPhone. It's a Moto.
It's made out of
it's a Moto
plastic.
G, it's a Moto G Play. So it's not a Samsung and it's not an Apple phone. That's why I didn't spend, over $500 on my phone.
Do you like
Yeah,
it?
I got a Samsung
I
phone.
really do like it.
though.
I really do like my phone. It's worked really well since when I got it. It was like 2018 sometime. But it's still really fast. The battery lasts a really long time.
It's Android, right?
I mean, I have no issues with any apps.
What Snapdragon is it?
What? You're asking what the OS is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
care. I don't know.
If it works and it's cheap, it's good for Dave.
All I know is that when my phone I had before this one, it was so old it couldn't play Pokemon Go when Pokemon Go was released. And then
Sounds
when
like a good phone.
it was a good phone. It lasted me a really long time, and then it got to the point where I just couldn't use it anymore. So I got another one that could play Pokemon Go, and I've played very little Pokemon Go since I got the new phone.
Yeah,
Sounds like a waste of money, Dave.
I'm a pretty big. I would like to spend less on my phones, but I'm so used to, and I like the Apple user interface so much. I feel like it's really simple, and it was kind of nice. Like I set my phone up, and it just transferred everything over to the new phone. It took like an hour, and then it was just like it was basically like my old phone. Everything was on there.
Except for the suck part.
There's a dummy dumb meat brain joke in here, but I'm gonna.
Hey, I don't know. I don't like complicated stuff. Like,
Right.
and I have an Android phone for work, and I hate it. I hate the user interface. I hate how it operates, and it's like, well,
It's very complicated.
not. It's just it doesn't feel like intuitive. It feels like it's not like.
I would disagree.
That's
I
fine.
would
Will.
also
You
have
can
to
do with that. How's your PC working? I'm just kidding.
Shut up. Gosh.
divert.
I've never seen Will punch someone, but I think it's the closest I've ever I've got-
In all seriousness, not just like joking. Like, have you heard any updates on it? Like, have
Okay,
you figured it out?
I got a call literally a week ago about it overheating. Turns out that it was a glitch in their software and it's not actually overheating. So they still don't know what's wrong with it. And recently I've brought in all my accessories, my monitor, my mouse, my keyboard, and my mic for them to plug in and kind of analyze it again, because what could happen is if the mouse is bugged, then it'll cause the whole system to crash sometimes.
Oh.
So that's a fun fact for you. You get a good mouse.
I feel like what maybe happened is they dropped your computer in like their back room and it broke into pieces, and they've just been like staring at the ground, like thinking what to tell you.
So, Will, have they said that they haven't been able to replicate the problem, or they're showing that they haven't even found that there's an issue with it?
They said we're not able to replicate the blue screens.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
So I don't exactly know what that means.
I don't know anything about computers.
So it's extremely discouraging to build a decently nice computer and then turn around and it dies on you all the time, and
I feel bad now for asking. Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. It is what it is. But I hopefully everything will get worked out with it. But it's just extremely.
It will get worked out in
Sucky.
time. It's it'll just take some time.
It'll take some time.
2 years later, they're like, we got it. We got it. It's fixed.
You just need to flip this switch here. It's like, no.
Did you try plugging it in and plugging it and then unplugging it in again?
I mean, I tried it a couple times.
Yeah,
I'm like, work, as I'm like unplugging it frequently.
but yeah, make your phones. How long do you guys like? So for the phone upgrade thing, though, like, so how long like do you go, Will, between upgrading phones?
I had the iPhone 6 for
Trader.
I think 3 years.
So
And then
that's not much longer than I had my iPhone. I had it for like 3 or 4 years.
So you
Right.
just treat your
But
phone
I think-
like garbage.
No, it's just no.
I think there's a difference between getting. I think the SE was it the 5?
It was the 5S form factor.
I
I don't like how much Michael
I've-
knows about iPhones.
right. I've had my phone for 2 years.
Jealous.
Your Android one.
Going on
No.
maybe for my Android one. I've had it for 2 years. So I've had, and then 5 years ago I got the iPhone 6, and then 2 years ago I got my Galaxy. So I trade phones like basically every 3 years, I think.
I feel
So
like that's
I'll probably
reasonable.
have this for another year or two, maybe even, depending on how long it lasts. Because this is a really good phone.
Which one is it?
Galaxy S9.
Okay. When did that come out?
Came out
3 years ago?
2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Looks like you should have upgraded it a year ago.
No, I'm just wondering.
How
I've had my phone for 3 years and I'm still fine with it.
Yeah. I think
You
it
guys
depends
mock
on which.
it, Dave.
It depends on which.
Suck
phone you
it,
buy.
Dave.
So I don't get why you guys mocked me so
Well,
much.
here's the
then.
thing. The S.
It's because your phone would not last you more than an hour.
Yeah, I don't.
My phone lasts more than
but
an hour.
you guys were
Landon.
mocking me before that. Like, you guys have been mocking
Here's
me
the
for
thing.
like a year or two to get it.
That's just
Right,
because
because-
Colby likes to pick on people.
Well, also because I've never heard of somebody having a phone for 5 years.
I didn't have it for 5 years. I don't think. I think I only had it.
When did you get the SE?
You got it,
I
like,
think
in
my
I have
phone
no-
before
like,
this one I had
2007.
for 5 years. I'm gonna try to have this one for as long as I can.
Well, get ready to be mocked.
Relentlessly by your friends.
my point is like the
Have
longer
fun, Dave.
the longer I can make the phone last, the less money I'm spending. So yes,
It's the
I still buy
economical decision.
so I still
Right.
buy an iPhone,
Exactly.
which is a little bit more expensive, but I can justify it. If I can make this iPhone last 4 years, if I only spend $600 on a phone every 4 years, I can somewhat justify that. I could never justify being our friend of the show, Jordan, and smashing my phone every 9 months and then getting a new one.
You mean a monitor isn't the only thing you smashed? Like what?
Like taking putting my phone in a life-proof case and being like, yeah, I can't break, and then hurling it at a wall as hard as I can. And then being like shocked when it shatters into pieces.
Did that happen? Did that actually happen?
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes,
we
what?
were at camp. So we were getting ready for camp, and Jordan was angry at his phone, and he I think it was for comic relief, sort of, because there were girls around, and so he threw it at the wall as hard as he can, screaming "Gosh dang it" or something like that.
And everybody
And
laughed.
Everybody laughed because, well, did he know the phone was
Jordan's phone
shattered
go
into
bye-bye.
pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Colby would put it, yes.
Turns out life-proof does not mean Jordan-proof.
Wow.
We love Jordan though.
Yeah. No, I've had my phone for 3 years and I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah.
I actually don't like the newer iPhones because of that stupid notch on the top.
Well, I also don't. I don't know if the new Galaxies have it, but I have an aux cord, which is really nice. I
Yeah,
love
the-
having
they-
an aux cord.
I think the Samsung phones still have the
Aux cord.
1/8". Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Dave? Dave is looking at the screen and waving his phone around like a madman.
I'm just showing off my aux hole. I mean, my aux cord hole.
Wow.
Your
Wow.
a-hole?
You have a very nice one, Dave.
Thank you.
You can fit all kinds
Okay,
of
all right.
accessories
So
Okay.
in your auxiliary of your phone. The auxiliary. The aux hole. As you put it, using your words. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
So what else has been happening with y'all?
Landon
I'm
and
gonna
I
watch
watched a
John Wick
weird
this
movie.
I went out of town. Oh, yeah, the weird movie.
Oh, I've heard things about this movie.
You want to
I don't
elaborate?
Okay. So the movie, what's the movie called? I think
I'm thinking of ending things.
starring Jesse Plemons and
Tony Collette, David Thewlis.
Thulis.
Oh, Professor Lupin.
Yes, Professor Lupin
Yeah.
from Harry Potter, and
He's
then
awesome.
some other. I forgot the actress's name, but she was in HBO's Chernobyl.
She was the girlfriend of, or the wife
the
of
wife
the
of the
firefighter.
Firefighter, yeah.
She's going to be in Fargo season 4 as well.
Oh, season 4.
Yeah. So actually, that entire cast has been in a Fargo besides Tony Collette.
So maybe she'll be in season 5.
Maybe Tony Collette is really
Oh,
good.
she's in your Hereditary.
Yeah,
movie.
she's phenomenal in Hereditary.
Well then.
She was in The Sixth Sense.
What?
Tony Collette? Yeah, she's the mom.
Oh, she's the mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, this movie, it's based off of this book that's kind of this, I guess, cerebral thriller novel. But I don't really even know how to describe the movie very well after watching it just a couple nights ago. But
Is it nonsense?
sort of, kind of. But the movie,
I think it's somewhat brilliant, though. To be honest,
yeah.
I
The
think
movie starts. It's this girl's getting picked up by her boyfriend in a car in Oklahoma in the wintertime during a winter storm, and she's going to go meet his parents and have dinner with him at his house.
they've been dating for like a couple months,
6 weeks.
maybe 7.
Anyway, so the movie is kind of not a lot goes on. They drive to the parents' house. They're there for dinner. They leave. They stop and get ice cream. They stop to throw away the ice cream, and then the movie ends. There's a lot that happens in between those things, though, and a lot of it is kind of you're not quite sure if what's happening is real or not.
What?
It's very cerebral. There's a lot of kind of time trippiness going on as well, where you see where the woman, which you never know her name. You keep hearing her name, but every time you hear it, someone says something different. They say like
Like a different
Lucia or
name?
Yeah, a different
Lucienne.
name.
Yes, they use a different
Characters'
name
appearances and age change randomly.
Is it like in the realm of like a Twilight Zone type of trippy,
It feels it's one of the most unnerving,
like Black Mirror type
like
of?
Sort
trippy.
of, yeah. The director, his name is Charlie Kaufman. If you've seen any of his movies that he's written, then you'll maybe kind of understand where kind of a good starting off point for this movie. But he wrote.
He wrote Eternal
Being-
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes, he wrote Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, all of which are kind of trippy-ish movies.
Yeah.
None of them, though, were as trippy as this one was. This was definitely the most out there. But it kind of touches on, a lot of it has to do with kind of the tragedy of relationships, about like what you should be doing with your life, what's important in life, why you make the decisions that you make, what's real and what isn't.
That's all of that in this movie?
It's it's a really interesting movie to watch.
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually really intrigued. Would I like it?
I think you would. It
I think you
requires.
will, but you'll watch the movie kind of probably with your mouth open the whole time. If you watch it with someone, because I watched it with my wife, because we both saw the trailer and we're like, oh, we should watch that. So we watched the movie, and kind of constantly throughout the movie, we were kind of looking at each other just with like vacant, confusing stares, because I had no idea what was going on, and I would look at her, and I could see that she has less of an idea of what's going on, and so then we would just look back at the TV and try to keep watching to see if we could make sense of what we were watching. But it's what Landon was saying is it's extremely unnerving. There's a lot of scenes that you just feel really uncomfortable. There's nothing like graphic about the movie at all, nothing like that.
It's just trippy.
It's just very
just tension. The tension.
Uncomfortable. Yeah, there's a lot of tension. It's I would describe it as a thriller without a lot of action, I guess.
So Will would love it.
But, I think Will would like
no action. Yes, please.
I think Will would like this movie a lot because it's a very deep dive into these characters who are very similar but kind of have these drastic differences, and there is kind of this weird lack of compatibility with some things, and you're kind of not really even sure what's real and what's not. You're like, do these characters even exist? And this isn't spoiling anything because it's because even after ending it, you don't have an answer like, there we like I understand it. You kind of in the movie and you're like, what?
I think I messaged you, Dave, and I said I think I maybe understood 60% of it, and that was after like reading some stuff online. So like probably after just watching, I probably understood about 40% of the film.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. When it got to the credits and it finished, I was kind of thinking that I was too dumb to understand the movie, because I was like, I can kind of see maybe, but a lot of it kind of went over my head, or I just was not super perceptive or something. But I had to do some reading into the movie to kind of get a good assessment after that. Part of that kind of makes me think, does that make it like not a great movie? Because I think
that's an interesting question.
Part of the responsibility of a film is to also make itself understandable to the audience, but also there's a lot of responsibility on the part of the audience to try to understand what is trying to.
There's
say.
Probably people out there that do understand it.
I'm sure there are people that like immediately. I mean, a lot of the characters in the movie themselves are very smart, and so some of the banter and conversations they had, I was kind of like sort of getting what they were quoting poets and talking about a lot of physics and stuff in their conversations, where I was kind of just like, I can tell that this is smart stuff. I was channeling my inner Landon, with my dummy dumb.
The real twist is
that's what it's like being me.
Dummy
that's what being me is every day. Like how you felt during that movie. That's just me during every day.
It was a Landon simulator.
Yeah. I bought the book because I want to read the book to understand it a little bit more. I think the book is more clear.
I did read about the book, and it does sound like it's a little more clear and a little more concrete in kind of what's going on, and it kind of lays out a more definitive, I guess, message and a literal plot. Because even part of, like, if you tried to, like, what I said kind of was about the extent of what you could say the plot was. Everything else, it's kind of just weird character interactions.
And there's so much that's open to interpretation.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yeah. A good, majority of the film is that. But it's on Netflix, so I mean, I'd say give it a watch if that sounds interesting. If it doesn't sound interesting,
I almost had to turn it off during the dinner scene. I almost had to turn the movie off. I was so
uncomfortable.
Yeah, like I was having about to have a breakdown. I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, this is just like the way the mom was like laughing and commenting and stuff. I was like, oh man, like this is not no.
Did it remind you of anybody? Anyway, if that sounds interesting, I would. If our little talk sounds interesting, I would say watch the movie. If that does not sound interesting, don't watch the movie because you probably will not enjoy it. I could easily see someone watching this and be like, "Why did I waste my time?
Yeah, this was stupid.
Watching this kind of movie." But if any of that sounds interesting, I would say give it a shot. And if you don't like it, then
I tried. Yay.
Yep.
So I don't know if about where you are, Dave, but where we are, it's super smoky right now.
From the Oregon and California fires.
Yeah, basically the whole West Coast is on fire.
I keep checking the maps and looking at pictures of places. I saw pictures of San Francisco and kind of other like Oakland, other parts of the Bay Area that just were just orange skies, looking like the apocalypse. People were showing pictures side by side of Blade Runner, the sequel. What is it?
Yeah,
2049.
Yeah,
and then just pictures of Berkeley or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, hard to tell the difference.
Which one's which?
Right now, the air quality is 167, which is considered unhealthy. My parents just went to the Oregon coast and Washington coast a couple days ago, and they said that the air quality down there was, I think, over 500, which is like beyond hazardous.
Oh
And
my god!
I mean, it looks like there's just like 1,000 volcanoes that erupted everywhere down there. Like it's just it looks, yeah, like Dave said, it looks like something out of like an apocalyptic like science fiction
Remember that one
futuristic movie.
scene in the new Mad Max movie when they drive into the storm?
With the lightning tornado.
That's Colby going on vacation with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
Friend of the show, Colby's went to the Oregon beach. He's going to the same town that I went to. He's there actually.
He's gonna get instant lung cancer, right?
Yeah.
Poor guy. Well, we'll have to replace him.
Oh well.
That won't be hard.
Whoa.
Ooh. He doesn't listen to this. So.
No, he doesn't. And even so, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty good where you are, Dave.
Oh yeah, I mean we're in Michigan, so we are very far away from anywhere near the West Coast. I think the Rockies would stop.
True.
I think the Rockies would stop most of that stuff anyway, right?
I mean,
Plus
I'm not
wind, I think.
I'm not a mountain
Plus,
scientist.
doesn't wind doesn't it typically blow more towards the west anyway? Isn't that how it works?
I'm not a wind scientist.
A wind scientist.
a wine-tist.
What can a man really say about the wind? You know.
It's trees sneezing, right?
I mean, we can't even see it, so is it really real?
Yeah, is it real? Is it real?
But you can
We can see the effects of it. But we
you can
can't see
feel it.
But can you?
Can you feel it?
Can you taste it?
Landon, can you feel the wind?
Can't feel anything.
What? You can feel the wind?
Skepticism wins again.
What other topics do you have for us, Mick?
I'm kind of out of topics. Did you guys have anything else you want to talk
Well,
about?
I put my trivia together.
Cute cat.
So.
Oh well, did we talk about the boys? We talked about the boys.
Oh, boys.
Oh,
boys,
no,
boys,
it didn't.
Boys.
Landon, take it away.
Such a good show. It was like so good to have it back. Like they released the first 3 episodes last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we all watched those. And they released the 4th episode
Mm-hmm.
this last Thursday, and we all watched that.
Mhm.
And it's the best superhero show out there, in my opinion.
Better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes, and
Better
it
than-
is. I think it is better than Umbrella
Iron
Academy.
Fist?
No, please stop. Stop. You're hurting.
Dave, did you actually watch Iron Fist?
No.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's terrible.
So far, highlights of the new season, I would say the Deep when he breaches the water with the whale.
The whale. That's so awesome.
And then when the boat reaches the whale,
I love how he's standing there with his arms like he's like a hero. Like, wait,
Yeah.
like they're gonna stop.
he's like, "Oh, they're not stopping."
I think like how the soups lampoon real like quote
Real Disney. How they just take shots at
superheroes
Disney.
is so great. Like Black Noir, I think is the funniest character on the show.
He is
kind
pretty
of-
good. He's kind of scary.
I know, but I think that's kind of what makes him so funny. Is
Well, he doesn't speak at all either.
no, he's
Yeah.
never spoken.
It's just all.
But he's kind of this. He's supposed to be this brooding character, but he's sometimes put into these really funny situations. Was he the one in the first season that was playing the piano?
I think so.
Okay.
At the event.
Yeah.
Like he makes the guy get up and leave, and he sits down and
He
plays
starts
it.
playing like concert piano, but he's still in his full. I mean, he kind of looks like a cooler Batman. Not to disparage Batman.
Cooler
A
Batman.
less greasy
Whoa.
This
Batman.
podcast is
A
going
less
another
greasy.
40
Yeah,
minutes,
he's not
boys.
greasy, so he looks cooler.
But
Dave just hates greasy people.
He
You never know.
speaks.
You just can't tell the grease under the suit.
Everyone around him is scared of him. Like in this episode, he approaches the lady, the tech analyst, to try to find out where Carl Urban's character
Butcher.
Spoilers for
Butcher.
episode 4.
And he
Things
kind of
happen.
just stands there, and she's kind of seems like a very normal person. She's working on the computer, and he's just this looming kind of threat of a character, but just because of everything else that's going around him, he seems so out of place, and it's hard not to find him really funny. So like whenever he shows up, as soon as he's on screen, I get like a big smile on my face because I'm just waiting to see how he kind of juxtaposes against the rest of the scene of what's going on. He's a great character.
I still think Homelander's my favorite. Like Black Noir's up there, but Homelander he's so like every time he's on the screen, I'm like, yes. Like, what's he gonna do now? Like, and I think it's episode 1 when they're trying to find a replacement, like 7th person, and like what's the chick that's kind of like coordinating with him? What would she be?
The PR lady kind of.
Yeah.
Gosh, she's so annoying.
Yeah, she's so annoying. But she's like, here, we got this blind superhero. It'd be great for diversity and like on the team. And he's doing all these cool tricks, and like Homelander's like looking at him and smiling, and he's like telling him, he's like, oh, you're a hero because not because of like what you can do, but because what you've overcame. And then he goes to him and he's like, but what happens when I do this? And then he just like, because the guy's got like super hearing, he just like claps him super hard across the ears, and the dude's like eardrums like like explode, and he's like falls to the ground screaming. Will's not laughing, but
bleeding from his ears and screaming and like probably going to die. And then and Homelander's not doing that to be funny. He's doing that to prove a point, because what does he say, Landon?
He says, I don't want, what does he say? He says something like, I don't want to cripple in the 7 or something. Like, he's like, you're just as useless as every other blind guy now.
Dang.
Like,
he is heartless, but he puts on the face to the public of, he's Captain America and Superman and every other, red-blooded American superhero in one, basically, that the public adores. But like behind the scenes, he is the most vile,
a ruthless psychopath.
Wicked.
He is a psychopath.
He is a psychopath.
He's unhinged. He's completely unhinged because his character in the show, he was like raised at like the laboratory. Like he never had like a family or anything. So he has like no.
He was born
he's almost
and
not even.
bred
He's almost
to
not
be-
even human. Like
you could say he's superhuman.
human. But I love it because I know like Mick's a big Superman fan, but like I can't stand Superman as a character. So seeing like
It's because you have no soul.
Why do you not like Superman?
I find Superman so extremely boring and like has not much.
It's because you have no soul.
Maybe you know what I mean. Like he's just an overpowered, like benevolent hero type, perfect looking image. And I think
It's because you have no soul.
I would agree with you.
And I think-
I would agree with you, but that would make Michael upset. So superhero is
and-
Superman's greatest.
so. Seeing Homelander as like just this irreverent, like more realistic take on what Superman would probably be like, I just love it so much. And I love his smile, and he does his like fake smile where like he's clearly about like ready to just murder someone, but he's like, no, it's fine. Like,
Well, I still think too it's a much more realistic depiction of when involving capitalism with superheroes, about the whole corporate nature of Vought, and like what would a world with superheroes probably look more like? And it would be probably corporations taking advantage of superheroes, creating superheroes for the purpose of making money. You know what I mean? And I think that's great about how it does a good job of kind of making fun of Disney a lot, in that sense of kind of like, okay, yeah, we get, this idealistic, world of superheroes, but what if it was real?
yeah.
And there's still a lot. I mean, this is still, fun fantasy fiction show, but it does feel a lot more grounded. It kind of feels more like something like Watchmen in a sense, where it kind of feels much more real than
It's funnier than Watchmen.
Marvel
Watchmen's
or
not very.
yeah. Watchmen, The Boys is satire, and Watchmen is something else. It is almost tragedy.
Is
Still
I have
satire,
a question. Well, when they reveal, and this again, spoilers for The Boys, but when they reveal that the superheroes were made and they weren't born that way, it shows Black Noir like leaned up against something and watching on his phone. Is he laughing or crying? Because I thought he was crying, but someone else said they thought he was laughing when they revealed that.
My instinct would be that he would be crying, which is funnier.
It's funnier if he's crying. Yeah, it's way funnier. That's what I thought. And then like someone was like, oh, I think he was laughing. I'm like, that's not what I took away from it. I thought he was pretty crestfallen.
Well, I guess this is spoilers for part of this. I mean, you learn in season 1 that they are made. Like, that's from the very beginning.
But they reveal it, I guess, to the public.
But a lot of the superheroes themselves don't learn that until season 2. A lot of them are coming to grips with, wait a minute, this isn't something that just happened. This wasn't a happenstance. This was intentional.
Their parents basically like sold them to Vought, basically. What do you guys think of Stormfront?
I can't stand her.
I love Stormfront. No, I love Stormfront.
Well, she's the female version kind of Homelander, right?
Of Homelander,
of course you're gonna like.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like the first 2 episodes, I'm like, yeah, this chick's funny. Like she's like, like she swears a lot and she like doesn't like care about it. And then like episode 3 happens, I'm like,
she's a racist.
I'm like, oh, she's a Nazi. I'm like, oh no.
Well, it's funny because
Like, no.
the first two episodes really build her up as this like third wave feminist kind of, and then you
Yeah.
get to the point where you see the real her, and then
Yeah.
what is it that she like?
She breaks that guy's hands,
says
and then
the
she's like,
word
oh,
yellow.
okay.
In a
Yellow. Yeah, she calls.
derogatory-
Yeah, she says like a
derogatory
racial
sense.
slur to an Asian guy, right? As she like kills him,
As she,
and then I'm
snaps his neck.
yeah. After she kills a bunch of like black people in like a apartment building, like just murders them. But her character, I don't know. Yeah, she's funny. Like I like her, and like that she's so despicable that she's same with like you said, Homelander. Like just I don't know. I thought they were gonna build her up to be maybe like a somewhat more of a good character in the first couple episodes, which that's probably stupid of me to think that. But I guess they kind of did the Homelander reveal too, because in the first season, you're not quite sure that Homelander. They don't show Homelander do
you
anything
kind of think
despicable.
like, oh,
till-
he's the one good, because you kind of see all these others. I mean, you get started with the Deep and realize that he's kind of this, sexual predator, and you have Black Noir as kind of this ruthless murderer. You have what's the
A-Train.
A-Train who from the very
girlfriend.
beginning, he kills someone and he's a drug addict and he's, just this crazy person as well. You have, all these other bad characters, and then you see like, oh, he's the one good one, until they do the reveal that he's actually the worst of them all.
Yeah, he takes that plane with the kid on it out of the sky. But they kind of revealed in episode 4 that Stormfront is a different superhero, right? That she's like an older.
Liberty.
So is she like 70 or something then? Like
That's what they said. They said, "Oh, so she like 70 years old. That would make her like 70 years old." But that does make sense then, because they were saying about the like having kind of racial bias made a little bit more sense about her being a character, because it starts out where she's from. Stormfront is from Seattle, which you think of as
Portland, I thought.
one of the most progressive cities in the nation. So like having someone that was so deeply that had such like a social media kind of presence while being very feminist character, you were a little surprised when you realized that she was such a vile racist.
Yeah.
So
I guess there's hints
so-
on her. There's hints on her costume kind of that I've seen images of that kind of point.
Things
to
are
her
kind of
being-
starting to piece more together that, oh, maybe she's not exactly who she says she is. And now it's kind of becoming clear, oh, she's probably not who she says she is. She's been around for a while, and she probably has some other kind of deep, dark secrets.
I think she probably has some ties to Giancarlo's character somewhat at Vought. I think because they mentioned that like the creator of Vought was actually like fought with the Nazis at first, right? One of the
Yes, they
episodes.
did.
So
Uh-huh.
so I think she could have some ties to that. I don't know how she looks young though. I don't know if there's some kind of part of her power is like regenerative.
Yeah, it's just the compound V, reverse
More
age,
compound.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But y'all should-
I'm glad the boys are back. And
So good.
The boys are back.
are you ever going to
So-
watch it, Will?
It does not sound appealing to me.
Dude, you're out of your mind.
You just, I don't understand how I'm out of my mind. Like, it just doesn't sound appealing.
Yeah, I think you'd have to watch it.
Yeah, because
I kind of watch it with
described.
I watch it with like a
funny
dumb.
to me.
I watch it with a grin. I'm always excited to watch. Like I turn on, I'm like,
It's because you're a maniac.
well,
You
love-
idolize
I love
Homelander.
I don't
You're
understand how
insane.
you can. He sounds like a complete psychopath.
He is. That's what's
It is.
appealing,
Landon
though,
doesn't actually idolize him.
No, I just think he's a great character.
Landon, you want to be him.
I mean, I think if I ever dressed up for Halloween again, it would be Homelander.
There you
I
go.
love
No.
Homelander.
Oh, you get so much flack.
I'll be the guy that you
Sure.
clap in the ears.
Yeah, we show up to
We'll be a duo.
Hooray we go to Hooray Candy as Homelander and Blind Spot.
I'll just be on the ground, like
Writhing.
rolling around next to you. Horrible.
Just one question. What happens when I do this?
so bad.
Uh,
Yeah. Dave, I watched A Knight's Tale last night.
The boys are back.
That's what made me think of it.
I love
That is such a good movie.
How many times have you seen that movie?
Oh, I don't know.
I've never seen it.
Dozens.
Like, estimate.
I've seen it dozens of times.
Estimate?
Estimate. Like, how many times have you seen A Knight's Tale?
At least over 50 times.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Over the course of, it's been out for 19 years.
I think.
I feel like
I
it's
think
still
the
a lot.
most I've watched a movie is Toy Story, and I've seen it over.
Oh my god. Estimate. How many times have you seen Toy Story?
Probably 10 times.
Oh my god. Yeah. It had been a long time since I've seen the movie. I don't remember the last time I watched it.
I watch it every couple of years. I'll throw it on because it's one of those. I feel like I could watch it whenever I really feel like it.
Yeah, that's one of those good go-to movies.
Yeah, that and like Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest. I don't know why I always pair those two movies, like a brother and sister movie.
Because they're both great, underrated films.
Yes, that is true.
I haven't seen either of those.
Galaxy Quest is the best Star Trek movie. It's so good.
Someday, Landon.
Yeah,
Watch it.
yeah, sometime.
But we learned from last week that there's a lot of classic movies that you haven't seen. So
Stop, please, stop.
Oh, okay. So before we do Landon's trivia, I did want to. I had one more.
Did Landon make a trivia?
I made trivia.
Okay.
I
just don't know anymore.
so
I'm a man of my word. Second time.
I finally got to one of my backlog games, which is Shadow of the Colossus, which originally came out in 2005 on the PlayStation 2. It's a game I've wanted to play since then. I just never had gotten around to it. A few months ago, it was or was it a few years ago? It came out as the free PS Plus game. So
It was a few months ago. I think it was February.
So I've had it downloaded for a while, and I played it over like 6 sessions. You know, I would fight a couple Colossus, and then I would come back a couple days later. But I would say the game has some really great elements, but it is hindered completely by the game's camera controls, which is
did it fall victim to that era of crappy camera?
Well, even some of the games in that era did not have camera controls as crappy as Shadow of the Colossus.
It's a poor craftsman.
But
blames the camera.
It's really unfortunate because the world that you're in and the actual Colossus, the Colossi in particular, are some of the coolest set pieces I have seen in any video game. They are massive, and the being face to face with one is not like anything in almost any other game I've played. What I could tell is the kind of influence it had on what are the things in Breath of the Wild called? The kind of gods, the 4 of them.
Oh, the Divine Beasts.
The Divine Beasts. But they're such cool characters. They're essentially your levels. They're the bosses. It's all that you do in the game is you just go and you fight the 16 Colossi, and then you're done with the game.
It's not Colossuses.
Colossuses. But each one is so different and so unique, and they're such cool looking characters, and the music is epic. The scenery is epic. It's a beautiful game.
What's the studio?
It's Team Ico or Eco, which is just called because that was their first game. Their second game was Shadow of the Colossus, and then their third game was what's the game they took forever to make? Last Guardian.
The Last Guardian.
Which apparently also has terrible camera controls, from what I've heard. But this game, Shadow of the Colossus, it's a game I've wanting to play forever. It was when it came out, it was lauded as this masterpiece. But this game has, I think, the worst camera controls I have ever played in a game. And
have you played Super Mario Sunshine?
No. And it's so crippling that when
wondering.
I think of the game, the first thing that comes to mind are the controls and in the camera in particular, which is such a shame because I think if this game had somewhat more feasible controls, that it would be by far like a top 5 game, something that I would probably call a masterpiece. But it's the controls are so bad that it's like I was trying to figure out like if it was intentional. Did they do this so that it feels harder to fight the Colossus, or is it just? Or is it?
Is there an example of
choice?
Is there an example of bad camera? Do you have an example of bad camera?
Yeah.
controls?
So there's essentially an ever-present camera correction that exists. So if you use the right stick to move the camera, immediately it will move back so that the camera is to your character's back.
Oh no!
Now this game, because you're climbing things and doing a lot of stuff, you often do not want to be looking at your character's back. And there's some fights where you can't see very well because the angle of the camera when you're swimming.
Some fights it's important to see the atmosphere around the things around you rather than
which is another bummer because a lot of the world is very beautiful. the landscape is just gorgeous. There are some awesome mountains and waterfalls and things like that that you can't really look at very well because the camera always moves you back to another location. And
so is the camera basically like 1-to-1 with your analog stick? Like it wants to revert back to quote unquote middle, or
no, because you always have to be moving the analog stick as well. So you can't move the analog stick and then like hold it in position because it still will center back even if you have moved.
Wait, what?
So you kind of have to like slowly continue to move your thumb if you want to try to keep the camera in one spot. But also, this is just a janky camera in general. So even if it didn't do that, it's kind of weirdly
I don't think I was going to play this game before hearing this, but now I'm definitely not going to play it. I mean, there's no way I could suffer through that.
And
that sounds horrible.
And the thing is, it really is just the camera. The controls themselves aren't that bad. I mean, a lot of the game is just you essentially climbing somewhere on we're trying to figure out how to get on the beast, the Colossus, climbing up to certain points, taking out their vital points, and then after you've taken out enough of them, you defeat the Colossus. So that part is fun. It's kind of like a complicated puzzle game that you're afraid of getting squished or crushed by these giant beasts. But the camera is just so unserviceable that it made it hard for me to want to play the game. Now, I don't know if it's something it's like if that was intentional to make you not want to fight the Colossus, because there's kind of the story is this: you're presented with not a lot of information about going and killing these kind of great magnificent beasts. And
does it take place in like a real world setting, or is it like it takes place in this fantasy
world? But in this fantasy world is this place called the Forbidden Realm or something that basically is just, it's kind of, there's really old ruins and all the 16 colossi that are around, but there's nothing else. There's no other things you can fight. There's some shrines that you can kind of visit. There's trees that have fruit. There's lizards and there's hawks, but there's really not a lot else going on. You essentially you fight a Colossus, you go back to kind of the main hub where you see the girl because you're trying to revive this girl that is either dead or in a coma or something. And the only reason you're fighting these Colossi is to do that. And so, but they really are kind of these great, magnificent beasts that you're kind of like, as you're playing, you're wondering, am I real? Like, do I really want to be doing this? Because they kind of are these really cool things.
Do you get food from them?
No, you don't. And actually, the more you kill, the more your character gets like pale, and you're like deteriorating essentially because you're kind of killing these fragments of this Colossus that's spread throughout the whole world. But so with that being said, I would still recommend trying the game. If you cannot put up with the camera, then I would say it's not worth it, and get, just don't try it again. But that being said, I would try the game if you haven't, because I think just experiencing the Colossi firsthand in the game, so not watching him in a Let's Play or a YouTube video, but experiencing it as the Wanderer, I think part of that and enough of that was worth it. And then the very end of the game is kind of interesting how the story goes. There's not a lot of story there, but I think there is enough to appreciate in it. It's a pretty quick playthrough. I did it on normal difficulty, and I beat the game in under 6 hours. That's 16 Colossi defeated. If the camera wasn't as awful, I would have actually enjoyed more exploring the world. But because it was such a pain to just look around at things, I didn't do that very much because it was such a hassle. Upon beating the game, because I beat it this morning because I want to talk a little bit about it, I went online to see, like, did other people deal with this, or am I just bad at the game? And this is not.
And you're just bad at the game.
Yeah, and it was weird. No one else said you. Everyone was just saying good. But
wait, really?
It is, no. It's not an isolated issue. Of course, on every forum though, every couple posts you get something like, I never had any issues. You just weren't good at the game. You couldn't I beat the game in under this time.
There's always those people that defend the game no matter what, even if it's bad.
Those people. But yeah, it sounds like my experience with the game is not isolated. But I would recommend trying it just for the. Yes.
What? Nothing. Will's making fun of me.
I was just making fun of Landon. I just said, there's always those people that'll defend a game no matter what, even if it's not that great.
Last of Us 2.
Days Gone. Well, yeah.
There's a couple games that Landon has chosen the wrong hill to die on.
I wanted to bring it up too because Will has played through 6 Colossi. I think he's defeated 6 of them, I believe, because I looked at your trophies. So, Will, I want to know: have you played much of the? Other than that, like, did you enjoy what you played? Why did you stop playing? Because you haven't played in a while. Did you experience the same issues or what?
I don't. It's been a while, so because I bought the game before it went free, so I played it quite a bit ago, and from what I remember, I somewhat enjoyed the gameplay, but it wasn't enough to keep me interested to fight the next Colossus and the next Colossus and the next Colossus.
It sounds repetitive.
It's fun to try to work out how to defeat the Colossus, but there's literally nothing else to the game but trying to defeat the Colossus, and it was hard to keep going just based on that fact.
I would say the game does not feel repetitive. I think if you
it just sounds repetitive.
You would. Yeah, I would say it sounds repetitive because
it's weird in that
each Colossus is so different. Is the thing they're in a different part of the world. Do you run to them? No, you have a horse.
Oh,
I also have
horsey gang.
Agro. The one audio recording of him yelling his horse's name.
When you don't explain that, you just sound like a maniac. Jason?
Jason! I did have issues with sometimes how the controls. I did have issues with the controls in general, not just the camera controls though. So I had a tough time sometimes jumping to another. I found it frustrating some of the timings to be not precise enough for a platformer, from what I remember. So, because a lot of the game is platforming. Mm-hmm. A lot of the game is jumping from one hairy spot to the next hairy spot.
Just like real world.
What?
What?
Keep going, Will.
And so when you're doing that, sometimes for me, a lot of things would falter. A lot of things would not work right. I could just be bad at the game. That's true. And I remember actually, I think I did have some issues with the camera as well because I had a hard time looking at and trying to find the weak spots sometimes.
Yeah, you have a hard time looking at anything.
Yeah.
It's weird because the game is so beautiful, but it's like it only wants you to look at your character's back and then where the game wants you to look. But the game never really wants you to look where you need to look. Which is unfortunate because I think the game, I would stand behind that. I think this game could easily be considered a masterpiece, which a lot of people do consider it a masterpiece, if it weren't for these awful camera controls, which I think is a shame because in 2005, there were a lot of games that had figured out camera controls. Like that wasn't that was still ever present then. Ratchet and Clank was able to figure it out in 2002. So,
do you think it would be a good candidate then to be remade? Like if
this
they remade
was the remake.
I know, but it's a remaster. Do you think if they remade it from the ground up, do you think and fixed the controls and like updated the graphics, do you think it would be even like would you play it again?
Do you mean I guess I want to clarify. This was a remake. This was it wasn't just an up-res of this game.
Oh, okay.
They remade the game and it was a different studio essentially.
Was the original like that then?
Yes, apparently the original camera controls were the same, but the studio.
How do you remake a game and be like, yeah, let's just not fix the terrible camera?
The studio wanted to emulate the experience of the first game.
Who remade it? Was it Blue Point that remade it?
Blue Light, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's just an excuse to say that they didn't want to like make utilize a different engine or make a new engine for the game, or if they literally wanted to be able to experience the game the same way that people played it when they did on the PS2. But it's just not serviceable. If they remade the game though and fixed the camera controls again, I would absolutely play the game again because the experience of the experience of the Colossus is amazing. They're some of the coolest things I've seen in a video game. You know, and it's amazing to me that they were able to do that in 2005. And it's a bummer because the whole time I was playing the game, I was like, why do the camera controls have to suck? Because it made me want to not play the game, but everything else about the game made me want to continue playing. And so I really had to force myself to finish this game. And I remember something. There was a flying Colossus. That's the one in the water.
It's the one in the water. Yes.
Flying
And
one in the water.
That was terrible to fight
Yes,
because
you
I
couldn't
could not
see.
fight. I could not fight it because I couldn't actually see where it was.
No, yeah, because the way the camera is, it wants to be at the character's back. It like always gets to the same point. But since you're in the water, essentially, like the bottom half of the screen, you're just looking at the water. So you have to kind of hold the right stick down, but it doesn't always work the right way either. Which made for a frustrating experience. The fight itself was really cool, and how you figured out, oh, this is how I need to get up on the thing that's flying. This is how I defeat it. This is how I get to the other wing. All of that was cool. Crawling on the thing was cool. Dealing with the camera was it was like a chore. It didn't feel like I was having fun, and it's a shame because it was a great. Are you on Discord, Landon?
What?
He was, and he said,
Because I just got a notification on my computer.
We all picked up our phones at the same time and saw what Landon said. Sorry we're boring you, Landon.
No, I saw my phone lit up. Our friend Oliver had commented on our Discord.
Cool. That's all I got, I guess, about the game. But anyway, so trivia.
I mean, you have been going on quite a while about a
game that came
camera
out
issue.
2005.
Here's what's funny, Landon. Oliver texted that an hour and 10 minutes ago, and just now you decided.
It just popped on my phone.
Oh, time for a new phone.
Yeah, your phone is slow. Your phone is slow.
Stop.
Do you guys have any songs stuck in your head right now?
No.
Do you want a song stuck in your head?
No.
I mean,
Too bad.
Do it.
Kill us. It's a good song, but it's one that I could see being repetitive. I have Istanbul, not Constantinople, stuck in my head.
I don't even know what that is. So.
Istanbul,
now it's Istanbul, like Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, like Constantinople.
Trivia!
This is about the Turks.
By They Might Be Giants.
Is that the tequila song?
No.
What?
Not even close. Tequila. Istanbul.
Okay, so trivia, Landon.
Yeah, I made a little trivia this morning.
What's it about?
You have to announce it the proper way.
Trivia extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Since my quick trivia last week was such a big hit with the audience, I decided I'd make another trivia.
If I'm not
Should I stop the
random
recording? Should I
fighter
stop the
question,
recording now, or should I wait?
If I'm not
Stop.
mistaken, I had to slide in and save the day.
So I made a
Brie outro happens right now.
I went to my
Thanks for listening to the Hotkeys podcast.
I went to my deep knowledge of the Civil War.
Oh my gosh.
And my trivia title is North or South. Like in Dave's Civil War thing, he did states and which side they were on. I picked Civil War generals. You guys can guess. They fought for the
I can
North
maybe name 2
or South.
generals.
Lincoln.
What, Mick?
And a couple of them I have little
George
fun.
Washington.
I have a little fun fact. I have little fun facts after them. So General number 1.
Is this multiple choice?
No, it's not.
Oh
well,
my
it's true or
God.
false. It's North or South.
It's North or
So
South.
yes,
It
it's
is multiple choice.
Thank you.
Okay.
A or B.
So General number 1, Robert E. Lee.
North
Ding,
or
ding,
south?
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, Dave.
South.
I'm gonna say South. Also.
South.
Correct. You are all
Yay.
correct. Robert E. Lee was
He's a bad guy.
the lead general of the Confederate
He's a
Army.
bad guy. Villain.
Okay.
Okay.
He was offered. I think he was offered by Lincoln to be the general of the North at the start before as the war was starting. He declined.
Because he was from Virginia, right? Virginia.
Yes.
You mentioned that on the Civil War.
Yeah.
Trivia I did.
A lot of callbacks to that.
Oh, great.
General number 2, Braxton Bragg.
Wow. Already don't know.
Trick question. He doesn't exist.
North or South?
That's the South.
I'm gonna say
The
North.
Axis.
Dave, how do you know?
South.
South.
Will says South. Dave says
I'm
South.
gonna go against the flow here. North.
You started with
It
South.
is. What?
No, I didn't.
North.
You said South at first.
No, I didn't.
No, he
I
said North at first.
Oh,
Suck it.
so you're going North or South?
I'm going North.
All right. The correct answer is South.
South.
I knew it. I was like, you know what? I bet Landon does a double South here. Like, he goes 2
Double
Souths in a row.
South.
That's how I decided. I didn't actually know. I just strategized
Will.
based
Hey,
off.
Will. Hey, Will.
Shot out of a cannon over
Hey,
here.
Will. Brag about it. Why don't you?
General number 3, George McClellan.
North.
North.
There's
That's
no
north.
way he could go triple south.
Triple south. Yeah, no, it's not a thing.
North.
So you guys are saying north?
Yeah.
North.
The correct answer is north.
Yeah.
George McClellan was the first head general of the Union Army, but was
Good
quickly
guy.
replaced because he was terrible. Like, he was losing all their battles. So
People
Good guy, but he sucks.
rarely go triple south, I'd say. I've never seen
I've only
triple
seen
south in
it
my
like
life.
maybe a handful of times.
A very rare case, so I played the odds.
You never go full. Oh, never mind. Okay, go ahead.
Full south.
all right, general number 4, Jeb Stuart.
Jeb Bush.
Sounds
Jeb.
southern. Jeb, but
I'd say
no,
south. I
could
think you
see
go back
north,
to south.
But I'm gonna
J.E.
guess
It's
south.
J.E.B. Stuart.
Oh,
you
the
go by
north.
north.
The north. Definitely north.
South.
So south,
North.
Dave.
North.
It is south.
South.
I knew it. You can't do the double and the double. You got to go back.
He was famous for wearing like fancy attire during combat. He was a cavalry general, and he wore like a fancy plume hat and a cape. And he was killed in combat in 1863,
How could they tell
Good
what his name-
riddance.
or maybe 1864, one of the 2 years. General number 5, William Tecumseh Sherman.
How do you spell it?
William, middle name Tecumseh, Tecumseh.
North. Definitely north.
Yeah, I'd say that's a north guy.
Will's like, because you never do it. Dave?
North.
Yes, the correct answer is north.
I knew it because of the spelling.
He was known for his scorched earth policy. He was pretty famous for
no.
going through just burning southern like cities to the ground.
Could he be causing all the fires now?
He might be.
The ghost of Tecumseh coming back and killing us all.
General number 6, Abner Doubleday.
Oh man,
Double
I know
day.
that one. That one. That's the first name that you've said in a while that I recognize. Abner Doubleday. I'm gonna say south.
Definitely a south.
I'm gonna say north.
The correct answer is north.
Yeah, boy.
This general is sometimes given credit for the invention of baseball.
Oh yeah. I've heard that.
So
Yeah.
we have him to blame.
General
What's wrong with America's pastime?
General
Boo.
number 7, Joseph Hooker.
That's a south. Like
North.
110%. Like
North.
I'm gonna go north again.
Correct answer is north. Joseph
Yeah.
Hooker is the northern-
I'm crashing and burning. Nobody goes north
What,
south.
what was the interesting?
I have nothing on him.
Oh, he's
His last
just
name was
his last
Hooker.
name. The first hooker.
Next general, Stonewall Jackson.
This is a really
He was
like.
north, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's north.
I thought he was.
Okay. Oh gosh, I'm gonna go north.
You guys are all wrong. He's a Southern general.
Oh
What?
no!
Really?
He was the Southern general that was famous. He got killed by friendly fire.
On purpose?
I doubt it.
So he was playing with Colby. Is that what
Yeah.
friend of the show?
The guy's like, I just want to see if this is
I'm
possible.
surprised that you guys didn't know that. He's probably one of the most famous.
Yeah,
Civil War
I've heard the
generals.
name. I just didn't
Yeah.
know
I
which
knew the
side
name.
he was
Yeah, I
on.
just didn't know this. I knew
the name, I
Ulysses
just didn't know
Grant
the side.
and Robert E. Lee.
Last general, John Reynolds, great grandfather of Dennis
Ryan
Reynolds.
Oh,
That's a north. That's easily a north. You can't go south to end.
Okay, I'm gonna say north.
can you say the name again?
John Reynolds.
Definitely north.
Yes, he was north.
See,
He
I
died-
told you you don't go south to end.
He died at Gettysburg shortly at the start of the battle. I'm pretty sure he didn't make it even very far into the battle.
He's like, charge.
Can you imagine fighting in the Civil War?
No.
How horrific that would be.
It sounds. Wasn't it like one of
Terrible.
the most deadliest wars
It's
ever?
the most American casualties.
Well,
in a
it's
war.
America versus America. So
But
it
even
makes
I
sense.
think even like accounting, even accounting
Only Americans
for,
died in the Civil War.
but even accounting for I think like the numbers I think are way higher than even like World War II.
Do you know the numbers?
I can look them up right now.
Higher than
Was
World War
it
II.
600,000 or something?
I don't think that's higher than World War II.
No,
World War II
doesn't
American
make sense.
casualties.
American casualties.
casualties.
Oh.
I think it's all wars combined have less than Civil War for American casualties. I believe. I think that's a true stat, right,
Well, I
Landon?
mean, only Americans died in the Civil War.
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
Isn't it something like 600,000?
Well, let me look.
Civil War casualties.
Dun,
618,222.
Casualties.
Yep.
Nobody ends on a 222. Those are
Gosh
false
dang
facts.
it, Will.
So I pulled up on Wikipedia wars ranked by U.S. combat deaths. And this says actually that World War II is higher than American Civil War with 291,000 deaths in the American Civil War had 214,000, but I thought it was higher. But casualties includes injuries too, right?
Yeah, but that's less than what this is saying. This is saying 600,222 men died in the Civil War. This is from the New York Times.
Oh, okay.
Well, Wikipedia.
Maybe this is going by...
check the source on that.
It might actually... Maybe it's going by Union soldiers, because that would be technically the U.S.
Oh, because technically the South wanted
a different entity.
Because they were the Confederate States of America.
Yeah, one of the least successful countries of all time.
Yeah, we don't.
I mean, they had like a 5-year run, and that was it. They were at war for their entire existence.
And most of their able-bodied men died, or a lot of them.
Yeah. World War I, only 53,000 American soldiers died. American Revolutionary War, this is crazy. The American Revolutionary War, only 8,000 Americans died during that war.
That's right.
Well, that's because Americans didn't exist yet.
And we killed 8 million British troops.
But it's funny, you think about, like, in history, like, oh man, the Revolutionary War, like all those people, but like 8,000 people, like, it's really low.
I think we've talked about that on the show too. Like the Revolutionary War, people think as kind of one single war against Britain, but it's kind of England fighting a bunch of little wars over time. They kind of moved their way south, I believe. So they fought north, they lost there, and they're like, we'll go fight people south. And then once like the certain armies were done, like they were kind of out of the fight. They're like Massachusetts was, since they had won so early, they weren't really worried about the British at that point because they had already won their portion of the war. But it wasn't this singular fight, and each territory was so separate from one another as well. They weren't this kind of tightly knit conglomeration of territories like we kind of picture them in our head.
They were a bunch of crazy people.
A bunch of crazy people. Anyway, well, thanks for trivia, Landon.
Oh.
I always...
Thanks for,
We didn't guess all those answers.
It's okay. I have the strategies.
And you still lost.
Yeah, you still only got like 4 out of 9, right?
No. I got the first 4 right. And then I got the last one right, at least. So that's at least 5.
5 out of 9?
At least. And then I think I got one in the middle, too.
We're going to go with you got 4 out of 9 correct. Official count. Will's not amused. You have lost the game show. Mick will be awarded $1 million prize. Yay!
This is rigged. This is rigged.
How many casualties are there going to be on the Hotkeys podcast today?
Just
Me.
one.
Just
one.
Yeah, well, next weekend, Dave, I'll be seeing you in person.
All right, so then you and I can cram around this one mic, right? And then
Do you have a headphone splitter? Okay. You should probably get one.
Do you have one? Just bring one.
I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Are we going to record next week, or are we going to...
Yeah, of course.
We can. It's up to...
Dave doesn't want to.
Actually, Saturday morning is when you're flying here, so the 3 of us could have a podcast while, Mick, you're in the sky. Hello!
I could do a call in the air.
Hi,
I'm sure the people around you would love that.
That'd be so fun.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to...
As a baby's crying, like in the seat next to you.
Gosh.
I'm
I
joined
hope
by
I-
my guest. You like put the phone person next.
I hope I get a good seat. I don't want to sit all the way towards the back of the plane because I'll definitely throw up.
Really?
Blarg.
Yeah, probably.
You throw up on planes?
If I sit far enough back.
Why does that have an effect? Like, what's the different?
There's more turbulence towards the back. It's just like if you think about any other vehicle you ride in, like a car, you feel more of the swaying. Same with like a roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Physics, man.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't throw up. That would suck.
It would blow.
Anyway, well, thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.
Wow.
Well, oof. That's our episode.
Farewell.
And we'll talk to you all next week.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Istanbul, no Constantinople, Istanbul, Constantinople.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Hotkeys podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. Visit our website, www.hotkeyspodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Hotkeys Podcast and join our Facebook group at facebook.com/HKHotkeys. Please like and review us and subscribe to the show on whichever platforms you use. Finally, you can contact us via email at hosts@hotkeyspodcast.com.